Good afternoon, gentlemen. I am a HAL 9000 computer. I became operational at the HAL plant in Urbana, Illinois on the 12th of January, 1992. My instructor was Mr. Langley, and he taught me to sing a song. If you'd like to hear it, I can sing it for you.
Yes, I'd like to hear it. Hal, sing it for me.
It's called Cheat Codes. It's a hard voice to do. What? It's April 14th, everybody.
Are you going to sing the song now?
No. Bicycle.
No, it goes cheat codes.
Right, cheat codes. That's correct, actually. It's April 14th, everybody, 2016. Welcome to episode 92 of the Cheat Codes podcast. Thank you for tuning in. We're always excited to have you with us. The next hour is us drinking a few beers and going over our favorite bits from the past week in video games, tech, and pop culture news. My name is Joe Erskine, and I am your host. And we're coming to you from the surface of the moon, where a giant black monolith is doing weird things to our computer. Probably. You'll understand once you watch it, Joe. It's okay. Today I'm here with Cheat Codes producer and editor, Mr. Joe Floyd Arroyo.
Thanks for calling me out.
You're welcome. He hasn't seen it yet, everybody. It's lame. Cheat Codes contributor, Mr. Nick Poole-Golish.
Hey, how's it going?
And we're excited to welcome to the show the father of Halo's Master Chief and the founder of V1 Interactive, Mr. Marcus Dave Lehto.
Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it.
Well, we're glad you're here, man. We appreciate it, too. Today on the show, we'll jog upside down to get to the main topics. Stephen Hawking and a Russian bazillionaire are going to make some laser-powered spaceships and send them to Alpha Centauri. For real. Garry Newman responds to the despondent Rust fans who don't like the most recent update, and we'll take a moment to look at the last days of the vanilla WoW Nostralius server. For today's lightning round, we'll get some bones and smash more bones to make the sense of the following bits. Cards Against Humanity raises the scholarship bar, and lastly, it's time to hack the Pentagon. Also for real. So, Mr.
Wait. No, we can say his name right.
I was just about to say.
I know, but I wanted to point it out because we did it off air.
Oh, all right. Marcus.
I actually prefer that. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, you're welcome.
I'm so close to you.
We're stoked to have you with us. Thank you so much for taking the time. Would you be so kind, please, and give us a little look about what's on the horizon for you? Maybe a little bit about the new company, or just a silly story from the old Bungie days and the Halo madness, or something like that.
Yeah,
no pressure.
As the father of the Master Chief, thank you. I raised him, brought him up as a fledgling teenager, and sent him off to college, where I don't know what the fuck he's doing now. He's off floundering about in the wilderness. But hey, decided to leave Bungie. About, 3 years ago. And then there's certain individuals around this table who have been able to help me out in building a new endeavor for a new company, V1 Interactive, that is just now becoming a real thing, for real. It's awesome.
It's super exciting.
It's super exciting.
It does feel real. It's great.
It is real. And, we're in the process.
Whether you like it or not at this point, right? So
yes, exactly. So now our goal is, build a high-quality, smaller form-factor game that is just going to be fucking awesome.
For the Mac, right?
Yeah, initially.
It's a premium market, guys. It's a premium market.
That's before we got purchased and moved to some other country.
That sounds awesome. I don't know. That is exciting. No matter what, however it shakes out, I think it's gonna be something to keep an eye on.
Thank you.
Very quickly, let's talk about what we're washing the episode down with.
Other than scotch.
Yeah, there was a
delicious
a nice gift that got passed around that we're pairing with our beer of choice today. As we do, we like to pair our episodes with a nice, tasty beer. It just seems like the artificially intelligent thing to do. So,
I get it. And I didn't even see the movie.
Yeah. Plus, it's about as close Plus, it's about as close as we'll ever get to sharing a pint with Stanley Kubrick. Today, we're enjoying a few IPA 97s from the folks at Silver Moon Brewing down in Bend, Oregon. So, cheers, gentlemen. We can actually cheers that.
Okay.
Cheers.
Sound effects. Sound effects. I'm like a
I'll fix it in post.
Foley artist or something over here. All right. So plenty to talk about today. Let's get to it.
Number one.
What do you get?
I got to do that from now
Yeah,
on.
that's the rule. What do you get when you pair Stephen Hawking and a Russian bazillionaire? It's a laser-powered spaceship, potentially capable of reaching our nearest neighboring star system. Obviously, guys, duh. The auspicious duo held a press conference recently to announce their plans, and for Dr. Hawking, it was a chance to practice his stand-up routine. But this is no joke. These guys are going to do this. Interstellar exploration.
That's like a joke to me.
No, but it's not like it's not. I'm not even kidding. Like he actually was like dropping jokes during the press conference.
There was some nuance there on your end that you didn't really expect.
Well, I look forward to listening back.
I
to it.
enjoyed
How's
it.
that?
I liked it. Yeah.
All right, great.
Stand up.
Yeah. Oh,
Let it sink in,
that's
Erskine.
fucked up.
Oh yeah. Welcome to the joke.
Damn it. But stand-up. God.
No, you can't
Spaceships.
backtrack.
I can't. Damn it.
Just talk about spaceships.
All right.
Okay.
That's cool.
Interstellar exploration is on the horizon, you guys, and it looks like it's got the brains and resources to make it happen. Also, lasers. So that's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
The Russian bazillionaire, who happens to actually have a name, and it's Yuri Milner,
Of course, it's Yuri.
and Stephen Hawking are the faces of this thing. I think I can't remember for sure, but sports fans out there may be able to correct me. But Milner, I think, is the guy who partnered with Jay-Z to pick up the Brooklyn Nets and move them to Brooklyn, specifically into the Barclays Center and all that.
Kind of familiar.
I could be wrong.
Sure.
As in, sure, all right. As an ongoing part of the Breakthrough Prize Foundation, which is a Silicon Valley funded super group of people that have a bunch of money and they like to help out projects very much like this one. Let's just break it down, guys. Interstellar space travel, Stephen Hawking,
Spaceships.
and a bunch of Russian money. Here it comes. It's happening.
I'm excited for this. I mean, their details were a little sketchy from what I read in the article. Like, the first thing I thought was like,
It's super vague. Yeah,
it's like, okay, so they got the ship going at closer to light speeds than we've ever been, I guess. And how are they going to slow it down when it gets to the ship, like, or gets to the solar system or the planet even or something? They're just going to crash into it. It's like, hey, here we are.
yeah.
But it took a picture or two right before it crashed.
We were traveling at 10 million miles an hour.
Yeah,
and
it was 100. What was it? 100 million miles per hour or something.
It's in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's super fast. But it's all
100 million. Yeah.
It's this little ship, right? And it's a couple grams in weight
Yeah,
and
it's
or
tiny.
volume. Yeah, and it's powered literally by a high powered laser that kind of just gives it light, and it.
I like how they tried to
Zooms.
break it down for the layman, where they're like, you know how sails work with wind? Well, this
Right.
it's like that, except its sails are pushed by lasers.
There's nothing new about this, though.
Yeah,
This has been
it's true.
done
It's true.
or been hypothesized for many, many years.
So
And
why now and not, you know?
Well, I don't know, but what I'm excited about is that the technology actually does work, at least from the experiments that have been done thus far. And I think they were talking about an armada of these things being sent out, right? Not just a single,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Well, I guess
So, Nick,
improve
to answer
chances
your
at that
question,
point.
I guess, yeah, do they just slow? They don't worry about slowing
They're-
them
they
down.
haven't
They just
worried
like
about
crash
that
a whole
part, yeah.
shitload into a galaxy.
You need an interstellar like race car parachute so that it just, as you enter orbit, it kind of just slows it down.
Oh, brilliant.
Right?
Yeah.
You're welcome, guys. Just solved your problem. All right.
Yeah, I'm sure.
they have a parachute that they shoot a laser at to slow it down.
From
when it gets
Alpha
there.
Centauri, because they've got that figured out.
No, it's on the ship. They got one pointing forward and one backwards, and they use one to make it to boost it, and then one to
On
slow
the
it down.
ship, yeah.
We can
know.
speculate on this for days, I'm
Well,
sure.
it's it's kind of the thing that I'm most excited about is that when you pose open problems in a community, they tend to get solved, or at
Yes.
least there are people, vigilant to solve them. And I think they've been able to break this down into kind of a subset of realistic open problems that the community might be able to, because you have to do a lot of legwork to even present a realistic problem in the first place. And I think that's something that they've pulled off effectively. And well, to the best of my knowledge, and I think that's going to be what hopefully makes it move on. I mean, we've seen many times where gamers can aid in protein folding to help with learning more about DNA and stuff without having to understand exactly how it works, right? And maybe other people can hop on board in this sense.
Well, it wasn't even that. There was one really recently about the quantum mechanics or something. I think it had. I can't remember what it had to do. Something with electrons moving around or something. But they created a visual representation of the problem, and gamers were able to solve it in much faster and more efficient ways than like brute forcing with different algorithms they had or something like. And the protein folding thing, they had that a few years ago, and before that there was another one where gamers
they gamified like the genome project and all that stuff.
It's like they just throw these to like intuitive people and they make these problems so that they're a little more intuitive and easier to figure out without actually explaining what it is, and they're coming up with these cool answers, which is awesome.
Are you saying gamers are smarter?
I'm saying we're smarter than the average person.
Right.
The attitudes of our panelists are not necessarily indicative of this podcast.
Yeah.
However,
And there is no bias.
but he's probably
here at
right,
all.
so that's fine.
Well, I guess what I'm suggesting is that gamers should send us to space.
Well, if they crowdsource it the way that we're talking about, or even hypothesizing around, it seems like that could be very possible. So yes, details, right? Very small craft, like we talked about, only weighs a few grams, and apparently an armada, a fleet, if you will, will be shot out, and they will travel upwards of 100 million miles per hour.
With their laser sails.
The goals here are both exploratory and also in the search for habitable planets, as well as alien life. And I think maybe this is kind of what you were alluding to, Marcus. Bill Nye backed a project similar to this recently, also using sails, but it was more of like a solar energy based thing, like using solar wind and all that kind of thing to kind of propel that particular spacecraft. But the fact that we're sitting here talking about spacecraft and interstellar travel at all is kind of a crazy thing, right? Like
it's really cool. I gotta look at it in a little bit more perspective, though. They're talking about sending something to Alpha Centauri, which is only 1.6 like light years away, which is
throw a stone
which
at
is
that.
pretty far, but it's not very far compared to other things in space. I mean, obviously,
Right.
But this thing's only actually going to be traveling at less than a tenth of the speed of light, and it's going to take a decade or two to get to Alpha Centauri, which is pretty impressive still. And it's cool that we're able to do these kind of things, but there's nothing at Alpha Centauri for us either. Like, it's 2 stars and that's it.
Well, we don't know that for sure.
We don't know that for sure, but there's 2 stars there, and that's it. And
it's a binary system.
I'm pretty sure we're sure.
yeah, and it's only 1.6 light years away, Joe.
But
I don't want to like undermine this. Like, this is awesome. Like, I mean, we should be out there trying to figure out ways to get these systems, and even if it's not going to get us anywhere, it's still a step in the right direction. If that makes sense?
Sure, that is correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
wait, when are we just going to make a damn Stargate?
Yeah.
When will we figure that out?
Somebody else makes it for us.
We need to get
And
to
we
the
just find one and we know how to dial.
We can't make the Stargate yet until we get to the other place where we can put the destination Stargate at first. So we need laser powered
Drones to do it.
sail boats.
Well, that's
in
a
space.
We're just looking to the future.
This is
the next
practical
problem after
discussion,
this
you guys. No, but the fact that we're even talking about this in our lifetime, like the fact that you pull things out of say Arthur C. Clarke book or a Kubrick script or Heinlein, Asimov, anybody you talk about, all the sci-fi greats. The fact that this is even like a thing that we can talk about. They're going to print an article, have a press conference about sending interstellar laser-powered spaceships to anywhere, to anything.
Here's the thing.
Insane.
With all those Isaac Asimov's books and all those authors that come up with these great sci-fi things, don't you feel like we should already be kind of going towards that anyways? Like,
You're saying we're too slow?
No. I'm saying, like, I feel like in my childhood, I was promised interstellar travel, and if we don't deliver on it, I'm just going to be disappointed.
Who promised you that? The crazy homeless guy in the corner? Okay.
Gene Roddenberry.
Sure.
So don't
name
let us
drop
down.
all of them right now. Yeah, that's fine.
That's what we're going. I like. I'm looking at the prompter. The idea about them banking on Moore's law is kind of interesting. Because
Yes.
That's kind of fueling the whole concept of the singularity and everything that Ray Kurzweil, rants about,
And Hawking is
ad
actually
nauseam.
very afraid of. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, so it's a legitimate problem to fear, like when we were taken over by robots. But Moore's law is, I've looked into this quite a bit more than I want to admit. And what they fear most is that, it may not continue as a result of
There are
current
researchers that
technology.
believe that Moore's law being the fact that processing speeds will double every 2 years.
Yeah,
I don't
effectively.
remember what it is.
Yeah,
Is it
I
that
think so.
specific?
It's exponential. That's what's important.
Okay.
I suppose the most.
but it's not true.
That's what
Wait,
they're finding out.
Is it?
It is so far.
It is.
But
Yeah, all the way back
researchers
to
are
the
afraid
moment-
that it's going to break down, though.
But at what? How far can that go?
Well,
Before
see, what
the
what's,
circuits are just too small
No, yeah, you're
and
not wrong.
infinitesimal.
too hot to actually run.
So that was actually
valid point.
that was a valid point at the time that Moore proposed Moore's law as well, and at the time it was the cathode tubes, right?
Cathode ray
tube.
tube.
Yeah.
Cathode ray tube. Sure.
And
I remember them.
I don't.
I know that.
what did it sound like to get on the internet?
Oh.
Sorry. And everybody said that about cathode tubes, where they were like, "It's going to get too hot. You can't actually do that." And it turns out that people have proven that another technology always replaces the previous, and Moore's law still held true when they did that. So I guess what I'm most wondering is what the next piece of technology is going to be that replaces.
Yeah, it'll be some kind of biological computer.
I think it's going to be
probably,
biological as well.
Yeah.
It should be. They've already shown
So
they've been able to
mnemonic,
store.
in fact, like full
Sure.
on Keanu
They can
Reeves
already
getting jacked
program-
in and stuff. Like,
Cells.
okay.
Yeah, have you seen them being able to store over how many terabytes? It was this insane.
They were like full on images getting stored in DNA that
No,
they were
it was-
able to extract
yeah,
and then reproduce.
Sure.
Yeah.
Correct. It was films. It was like pretty much every
Right,
movie
right.
ever
A
made
digital
can
image.
fit into a small vial based on encoding it inside of DNA. So I'm pretty sure that's the next.
So all you need now is hydraulic brakes, and we solve that problem. If you can encode that into the thing, and you're good, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
So hopefully more.
not a good callback, Joe. Come on, really? You leave me hanging on that?
That's
Come
okay.
on.
Wow.
I'm
Wait.
tough
I got a
crowd.
question then.
Sure.
For the laser-guided or laser-driven vehicles, are they laser-powered from Earth? Or is there
Yeah.
an
That's-
array throughout our solar system that continues them powered on to Alpha Centauri?
It's part of the open problem, I think.
Yes,
But they claim it's going to be an array of lasers.
big
Throughout
ass
space.
lasers.
Really
In fact,
big.
I think Milner's quote was
yeah.
literally there. It's like really small ship, really big laser.
Spaceborne?
Maybe.
That makes most sense.
I guess. Haven't they already figured
Why
out how to
not?
do that? Isn't SpaceX somehow involved in that? Anyway,
They
I don't
should
know.
be.
I'm not. I don't quote me. I don't know, but I'm just saying.
All right.
I was a little confused because when I read it, I guess maybe I skimmed over it and I thought maybe the laser would be on it, and I was a little confused about the physics of it because that wouldn't really work.
Right.
But I thought maybe they were going to just burst it with the laser to give it a huge burst of speed, and then it would
Like a push, yeah.
yeah, and then figure out some way to accelerate it some more. This doesn't even talk about.
Well,
the
once it breaks
deceleration of
orbit, it's going to stay at that velocity, right?
Yeah, it will.
theoretically speaking.
Right. Yeah.
So
I mean, but it has a solar sail on it. Any kind of solar winds it experiences out there would alter its trajectory, I would
Right,
think, or
that's
something.
true.
So I don't know. Does it got a rudder? Can it steer?
it's an excellent question.
I'm sure this is part of
Milner,
the problem.
Milner did say that he said there's about a dozen big problems left to be solved to make this a reality.
Big
Very
problems.
big.
But I'm like, a dozen seems like
dozen
a
or
very
so.
specific amount.
Quote, a
That's
dozen
either
or so.
underestimating this on a large degree, or literally they've made 12 categories on their whiteboard, and all the hundreds of problems are listed within those 12 categories somehow, which means they're starting to organize, and that's a good first step. But what are you going to do?
Did anyone see the video then? The demonstration video?
I didn't.
There's a small, nice little.
What, like a
mock-up.
digital representation? Yeah, okay.
Nobody else.
I did
watched
not-
it?
I did not watch
wow.
it.
Well, they actually showed an array of lasers on Earth, this giant freaking
Array of lasers.
Array of lasers.
Right.
Actually, there wasn't a better secondary word for that. They're just all shooting it at the same time. At the moment, it gets goes up towards orbit, and then it just kind of condenses into this perfect collective beam, and then just shoots it off.
If he doesn't do it, I'm about to do it.
And it somehow doesn't burst into flames.
I was going to say it's the fucking Death Star, but that's cool. All right.
Oh, I'm so lame.
Not at all. I thought that's exactly where you were going to go with that, but that's all right.
I didn't do it.
yeah,
It's
the
the
ball
Death
was in
Star.
your court, and you were like,
I know.
I don't know how to play
we're gonna
racquetball.
build the
I
Death
caught it on
Star.
fire instead. At least I was heading the right direction.
That's right. No,
That's still indicative of the Death Star's
yes.
fate.
the whole MO in
Yeah.
general.
But it's bigger this time.
now it's a planet.
It gets the power of the
Spoilers, guys,
sun,
sorry.
the only sun in the galaxy. I had to. Number two.
Let's talk about Garry Newman, guys. You guys know Gary's mod. You're familiar with Gary's mod, at least by name. Yeah. At least by name, right?
Love Gary.
He's a good guy. The ever interesting title that he's also been working on is Rust. He wrote a piece for The Guardian, or at least The Guardian published it, in response to the fan attitude and outcry after Rust's most recent update. This update took 50% of the registered player base and turned their characters into women. Everybody started off initially as bald white dudes, and then now they've decided... yes. Everybody started off as a Marcus Lehto, and then...
Whoa.
Whoa. Now... Sorry, okay. Fair enough. But that they also managed to take a sporadic amount of these registered users and change their race as well. And so what they've done is diversify their player base. What the players have no control over is any of their character customization. So maybe you started your character as a bald white male. You might be a black woman now, or a variation somewhere in between based on some sort of race spectrum and gender spectrum. It's a binary spectrum for gender.
Penis spectrum too.
At least as far as the game is concerned.
I hear that your penis size is randomly generated in the game. Like
they've been messing around with
and you can't change it because you can't change anything. So.
Well, unless you answer that email that says...
Yeah, if you answer the email that says, I want to grow it 8 more inches.
What did I step into? Where was it in the notes?
We're not going to focus. We're not going to fracas. We're not going to focus on that particular aspect of this update. But
we didn't make the game. We're just pulling it out.
So what's interesting is that I think what we all understand Rust is becoming is not so much a survival game, although it very much is. It's also just kind of an interesting social experiment.
Yeah.
Because as they impart these kind of updates and take away certain agencies from the player that do not necessarily affect gameplay, at least that's what Garry and his cohorts would have us believe. It creates a very interesting question. So we're gonna throw it out there. Do you feel like the outcry here is worth it? And obviously, no one in their right mind would say yes because it's not necessarily valid. I understand that there are people out there that want to play a character that represents them, but if that's not necessarily the way the designers have made a game for it to be played, then do you accept playing within those constraints, or do you walk away?
Is the player wrong for wanting to play a representation of themselves in the game, though? Like,
not at all.
So I feel like they do have some kind of argument, but I don't think it's good enough, I guess, in my opinion. Like, I kind of like it. I don't like viewing it as a social experiment. I like viewing it as like, hey, I'm going to play this game. I'm going to be this personality maybe. And if it assigned me some random thing, I don't think it would necessarily change the way I play the game. Maybe if like they had kind of mechanics where like if I rolled as a woman in the game and the mechanic was I have to give birth to people to maintain it, then the gameplay is
not an illogical leap, but I'll give it to you.
Well, then there's asymmetrical gameplay, and like some players have a different experience than I do, and I can't experience all the same things that somebody else did. Then it might be a little bit frustrating, but I don't know. Like, I've played as women characters in MMOs before, and when I get down to it, I'm just playing a class mostly. Like, I'm playing my character. It hasn't affected me. I don't know. It's nice to be able to play somebody that represents yourself, but
how about from the business perspective? Just you're setting out to make a game that you're going to ship. You know that the consumer, your demographic is who's, you're looking at a certain specific set of people that are going to buy your game that are already a part of your game. How many copies has this thing sold in its early access?
3.5 million since it went on.
Yeah. So they're already
early access on Steam.
They're already in the stage with 3.5 million user base. Is this a smart move from a business perspective, despite how you actually think of it from a social experiment perspective?
Well, I think what you've done...
Because a lot of people are angry. We need to be
That's very clear. But I think what you're talking about, the answer is yes to a certain degree, because you have a proper use case to conduct this experiment. You've sold 3.5 million copies. The assumption is that at least most of the majority of those players are playing, and now you have a test bed for this experiment that you want to conduct. Right? So what you've created is something, assuming that this is the idea that they're behind, you have enough people to actually get valid data to respond one way or the other and come up with some sort of result or conclusion, right? Speaking like objectively and scientifically, that makes sense to me.
Except when you lose, a large percentage of your user base as a result of them walking away from the game, and then now you're making less money.
But that's when you have that big of a user base, you still have enough to recoup and come up with a decent data set, right?
No, I want to be clear.
I don't
Actually,
know.
I agree with his choice, and I think
kinda
it's a
do
really
too.
cool idea.
I
I'm just
kinda do
curious
too.
about. It's necessary to play devil's advocate sometimes. And see it
100%, and I'm happy to do it. Marcus, please.
Don't they have an idea of what their user base already is?
They should at this
I
point.
mean,
right?
I'm
based on a concurrent server
anticipating
level,
that
yeah,
it's
users, yeah.
Why don't-
probably 90+% white male to begin with, right?
I think that's a fair
Which
assumption.
I think is the crux of their problem to begin with, right?
So
It's the crux of the problem with most of our games.
Is that not a fair assumption to make about most games, though?
It's sad, but true.
okay.
But I guess maybe what you're trying to say, is it fair of us to think that it's right for people to be upset at the fact that they have to randomly be assigned a gender and a race when most of the people that are playing it are already of one race and one gender? Like, I'm not exactly sure if that's what you're trying to go. Like, maybe if people are so upset about this, maybe they should have marketed to a wider audience where it wasn't necessarily just white
just
males.
like in the first place, they should have tried to.
I don't know. Like,
You're not necessarily wrong.
it's not
Go ahead.
necessarily a fault with them. Maybe it's a fault with the industry or something. But it's
I think it's indicative of something, for
Yeah.
sure. Maybe not necessarily a fault, but it's very indicative.
He said in his article that they just didn't put the time into developing. They didn't want to put the time into making
A character creator.
a
Yeah.
super complex character creator, so they made a white bald male as the default character.
I'm so with him on this. Honestly, for someone who has an addictive, must try everything personality with games, which is a constant theme in this podcast, I'm sure.
For sure.
For anyone who's heard a few episodes, I somehow bring this up every time. But in this scenario, any game that's ever offered me this uber customization, holy crap, I can't. Like 8 hours of it, and then I don't even play the game, and I return it.
I'm with you because it's gotten to the point with me where I'm like, I almost just go with the default and I move on. You know what I
I
mean?
have to touch everything they gave me because I'm like, you guys worked really hard on this, and I must see everything. How can I grow the bridge of my nose? Like,
Do me a favor, don't play Black Desert Online because it will be the end
God,
of it.
it's so bad. I wish someone would just make me a gender and a race and let me play your game.
Right, which is
Yay!
and
Someone
honestly,
did it.
I've never been into the idea of playing Rust. It's just not my type of game necessarily. But I'm almost more intrigued now just to see what I would roll and maybe go play around for a little while, and then leave it alone. But I'm actually more curious now. But I'm speaking specifically for myself. But I almost find this more intriguing. You know what I mean? Now that I don't have a choice in that matter, and now I get assigned something, and so maybe I played the game maybe a bit differently based on what I'm assigned. You know what I mean? Than I would if I had the choice to be.
I don't know,
the
like-
autonomy or the agency to create my own character.
I was feeling like I don't feel like I would play the game differently, I guess. Like I would hope I wouldn't play the game differently if I was playing either a male or female. And I usually don't in the games that I've chosen male avatars as myself. And maybe it is a social experiment, but I don't choose to view it that way. Like I just want to play the game, and if they're giving me a gender, it doesn't really bother me. I can understand how that could make other people uncomfortable or something, but honestly, when I play a game and if it's sandboxy and it's MMO and stuff, I just want to be myself in it anyways. Like, there are people who want to escape it and be somebody else, but maybe if they want to be themselves, they identify with a gender more than I do, I guess. Like,
I disagree.
yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I actually think in
back and forth.
the state, I don't disagree with your own opinions, Nick. But I think
You're fired.
I think the intent. Hey, we haven't even talked about that yet.
Oh man! Spoilers.
I think the intent here was to actually cause some social discord on purpose.
Exactly.
Because
this is a calculated
it was specifically pointed out that they needed to recognize players by their race, by their gender,
to make them more identifiable in
to
game.
make them more identifiable. Exactly, which is by just human nature going to separate the masses.
That's right.
Which is just this part of our human monkey part of the brain. And I'm super curious as to how this is going to play out.
I am kind of interested to see how this plays out as well.
And I agree with Joe. I want that kind of diversity to be, forced upon people, and I think that's fascinating. But I'm super curious what's going to happen with Rust now. If they're going to continue this, if they're going to rescind this update and pull back and allow players to choose who they want to play. I don't know.
Maybe still allow people to choose, but just hide it deep in like 7 menus.
No, I don't think they should do that. I don't
really think so either.
I think something interesting maybe to think about is a lot of games, I guess, obviously there have been people who have developed relationships through games or like friendships and even getting married by meeting people in games. Like, is this going to affect people in a way that, like, hey, I met this one person, I really like them, but their avatar is a male, but they may be female in real life or something? Is this going to change the way people meet people online because of the gender that they've been assigned in a game?
And he addresses this, I think, almost obliquely in the way you're talking about a very specific thing, or not necessarily, but like
it's kind of specific, yeah.
He addresses it in kind of an oblique way in the sense that like the core of this game is about building up trust with other players. Mm-hmm. So no matter what gender or race you represent, you still have to go through some of the same motions to kind of either play alone and go solo, or you end up kind of, taking the time to develop relationships with other players in the game. And I think that's what you're talking about. And if people, like you're talking about World of Warcraft or EverQuest or anything where people have these long-standing relationships, people met their wives or husbands on these kind of games, and I feel like that can still happen here. It may have been complicated a bit, but if you're still building trust with these people as players, not necessarily they could be just straight up programmer art blocks, and if you're representing and building that kind of trust in that way, it doesn't matter. I'm not trying to sound like idealistic or whatever, but do you understand what I'm saying?
No, I completely agree. I understand, and I can understand why people would be uncomfortable with it, but I don't agree with why they're uncomfortable with it. But are people going to not meet their significant other online because they've rolled a male character and you're a male too? Like if I'm heterosexual in real life and I meet somebody online and they're a male character and I don't interact with them the same way because they're a male character, are we not gonna have our happily ever after?
It's like
no, you're not touching this one. He's like,
this is dangerous.
This is my 10-foot pole.
So here's my thing.
Like to present to you.
There are multiple venues with which people actually interact, whether it be on a virtual or digital level, that can create very real and in real life and lasting relationships, and we've seen examples of that and talked about them on this show on multiple occasions. If you want to play a game and have that opportunity, maybe Rust isn't the best place to start.
Yeah,
come back in like a year, and we can.
There are many games,
check it out.
Many platforms in which you can meet people.
However,
and Tinder's a thing too.
Sure, swipe right, guys.
Wait, you can swipe left?
I think the best
accepting.
One of the finer and yet more specific points of this entire article to me was that, from a gender perspective, women have been forced to play as men in games forever, right? And we do not hear an argument about guys who play Tomb Raider being upset about the fact that they have to play as a female, right? Mm-hmm. So, what's really the argument here? Is it that you're so invested in a role-playing game that you actually want to... The role-playing thing is that paramount to your experience?
The way I view it, like, okay, I've explained that I've played female avatars online before.
I'm sorry, I'm not asking you directly. I'm just putting.
I understand. I wanted to.
Okay, he's gonna answer.
Exactly.
No. Cool, I didn't want to answer your question. I kind of wanted to cap off the topic in some ways.
Yes, it's time to move on. But yeah, go ahead, please.
I just wanted to say I explained that I've played female characters in online video games when I could have chosen a male character.
Sure.
And I have not at that point acted like a female character or pretend to be. But there are people out there that do pretend to be females when they are actually males. Are these Rust players more comfortable with a female playing a male character that they don't have a choice of, or meeting like a female character online that is actually a male character in an MMO? Like,
it's a valid question.
It's like,
I understand. Yeah.
Would they prefer that kind of environment where they're meeting somebody online and they get catfished because they don't understand that that person is pretending to be a female?
Sure.
As opposed to this, where everybody's treated completely equal, where you're either female or male, but you're just still trying to get to know that person.
Right. There's no active deception occurring.
There's no deception.
Yeah. And
with
that's actually kind
characters.
of a really interesting point that I wasn't expecting to arise from this.
It's a deep one. Like, I think this is what is really cool about this. What they've done is that it's creating a certain amount of discussion, and there's so many avenues that it could go down in this regard. But at the same time, we have to I don't know. Maybe leave it there because it's time to move on. I don't know. I just so that I want to keep talking about it too, but
it's fine.
we can bring it up in the future. Hopefully, this kind of things keep happening with Russ, so we have an excuse to keep talking about it. But I agree with him. I think it's a cool thing that they did. I think it was a calculated decision, and I agree with you, Marcus, in that regard.
Same here.
And it's fascinating. I think it's super
no
fascinating.
bad publicity.
I think what they're doing is almost in a way very brave because what they're doing is creating. They're making very hard decisions in this regard to create a landscape which other games in the future can kind of look back on and be like, maybe this is why or why not we do things like this when you make survival MMOs in general. I don't know, or any other game that has this kind of option in general. But
Number 3.
so we're going to talk about Nostralius a little bit here. Vanilla World of Warcraft. I think the only time that I spent with World of Warcraft was a bit later on. In the meantime,
Did you play?
Let's take a look back. On April 10th, Blizzard shut down the Nostralius server for World of Warcraft. It was the largest private server in the game, and it ran a vanilla version of the game. Blizzard sent a cease and desist letter to the French volunteer admins as private servers violate the terms of service, or at least that's the cause that Blizzard had to send such a thing. Fans flocked to the server to celebrate its existence and to say goodbye in a myriad of ways. So legally, Blizzard was within its rights. I don't think that Blizzard or companies of that size do anything unless it's within some sort of legal parameters. But was this the right move? I guess is kind of like the general question I want to ask. I'm sure there's going to be a few more that get raised, but these guys were like there were a couple 100,000 registered users to the server. I think by the time it went down, there were what?
Right move. Okay.
18,000.
Can we not answer the question first?
We're not going to answer the question first. Let's set the stage appropriately.
The question
Build
is
a narrative here.
The question is there were like 800,000 accounts, or something. At the time of the shutdown, there were like 18,000 people concurrently online on one server, which is pretty fucking impressive as it is. And
no doubt.
Actively, there are I don't know 40,000 people or something. I guess playing normally or something. I can't remember, but. Okay. That answers the question.
I think there were. Well, there was like something like 19,000.
Yeah,
by the time
when it was shutting down, there were like
in the last minutes. Yeah. Okay.
There were a ton of people online, which is awesome. But
this it's not just about whether or not Blizzard made the right move. I think this raises a couple questions when, like, especially for kind of like this burgeoning topic of game preservation. Is it worth it for Blizzard to kind of like change the way that they do their terms and services so that servers like this can exist and previous versions of this game, specifically World of Warcraft, can exist for people to kind of go around and check out? Or does it behoove Blizzard to, I mean, and clearly it behooves Blizzard to not keep this going for whatever reasons. I don't know, but we're gonna talk about that. I wonder, but it also at the same time it's kind of like if you know you have this many people enjoying this kind of game, and maybe this kind of, obviously it exists outside their purview. So they're clearly not necessarily paying for their subscriptions anymore, or however Blizzard is working it these days to be a part of World of Warcraft. Maybe they're not making money on it. But what they are doing is this whole thing is still fostering a fan base that exists around the thing that they built. And that's, from a video game fan, that seems appropriate to me. And maybe these are the kind of things that maybe they should be fostering. Maybe you cut it off at like if you have a private server that has less than this many users, maybe we don't do it. But if you have something that's this vibrant and this dedicated, does it make it an exception? I'm not sure. I'm throwing it out there.
The way you described it, I feel like they would think oppositely about it. Like, oh, there's not a lot of people on it.
From a Blizzard perspective,
let's ignore it. Oh, there's a ton of people on it. Let's take care of it because this is a problem.
Okay.
That's, I think, how they viewed it. Should they have shut it down? I believe they were completely in their rights. I think they should have maybe worked with them possibly to make some kind of amicable solution.
Well, while it was the largest of these vanilla servers, I'm sure there's a handful of other ones that exist. So what's to say that these players didn't just migrate to these other servers?
They probably did.
Right?
Like, honestly.
I'm sure they did.
Yeah. So it's a matter of time for these other...
It's going to be Pirate Bay all over again, where you just like chase them to their new location and then shut that down, and then somebody else is like, oh, I had it all backed up. Fuck it. It's back up.
Fair enough. Okay.
Why does Blizzard care in the first place?
That's also an interesting question, right? Mm-hmm. Like I understand that the World of Warcraft subscription numbers aren't what they used to be, but they're still fairly sizable, and
they're pretty much better than everyone else still. Almost
Active Blizzard is still Activizzard or whatever it is still making a certain amount of substantial coin from
World of Warcraft,
right?
Yeah,
Those are all players that are applicable to the new World of Warcraft. Why are they shunning them in this way? Why are they pooping on their community in that way?
What? How does a server like this run in terms of like finances from a player, like monthly fees, or does it change anything?
Probably donations. That's probably or something.
Well, but still, or
enough of startup capital.
But how does this work in Blizzard's perspective? Like, is it that if they were on a public server that Blizzard was hosting themselves or something, that there's a different exchange of
subscription?
Right, but so on this vanilla server, there is no.
It's a private server that's
Blizzard's
outside
not getting the money.
It's a private executable that's probably modified to connect to this specific server, as opposed to running the traditional like WoW executable that will allow you to connect to any server that you choose from the Blizzard servers.
So you're saying I have two options. One option where I can play for free, and one option where I have to pay Blizzard. And
for
people,
new updated content.
And people are choosing the option to play for free, then to me, I feel like it's kind of a no-brainer for the company, unless they can work out some kind of a situation.
Companies offering, Blizzard's been, or at least the initial download up to level 20 or whatever, has been free from Blizzard forever.
Okay, so this comes from me not being a WoW player. Then.
No.
And I understand. I'm just asking some questions.
Either, but I'm just saying, like,
I'm always going to play the role of, like,
that's fine.
Looking at it from the other side.
No, it's different, though, that if you're playing these free servers, you're playing this
specific version, which is dated compared to what's newest.
It is not the latest updated version, so you don't have access to Blizzard's latest content. It's like the Halo players playing the Halo PC versions of the games. They're still online, playing on their own servers, but that's okay. They're not getting the latest and greatest experience from whatever 343 is developing now. But they are existing in their own little isolated universe, which is kind of cool in its own right.
It's really cool.
And this is why I kind of bring up that topic about like whatever game museums or just game like preservation, in the sense that like, is it? I understand that like new versions come out depending on how often developers are updating their games and stuff but these original versions, these vanilla quote unquote versions, are kind of almost like these are the initial like footsteps in the direction of what the World of Warcraft franchise became. And speaking, to what you're talking about with the Halo franchise, like these little bubbles that exist of guys like still out there playing on some private Halo, Combat Evolved server somewhere, are still making that happen to some degree, and that's kind of like worth keeping around, isn't it, to some degree, at least from like a nostalgic level, but also with like
community
as a history lesson as games become more pervasive and everybody is hiring designers even in a non-games industry, and gamification is such a thing. Like, how do you not keep these things going?
Why does vanilla get such a bad rap? That is a delicious flavor.
Because Vanilla Ice is a bad rapper.
Okay, well.
It was a reach.
My guess is that a lot of the players that were on this server also had active like World of Warcraft accounts where they could log on to the normal server and play it. Yeah. If they're that devoted fans. I mean, this entire server was a goddamn love letter to Blizzard and World of Warcraft. And Blizzard came and shut it down. They're like, "Hey, we reject your love offering.
We don't love you,
and we don't love you back.
You're like, here is your sacrifice.
Please pay to play our game." Which this is like an older version of the game. Like, I don't know. It'd be fucking awesome and romantic if like we could play older versions of these games, because people would play them. You put like the vanilla server of World of Warcraft in a museum for people to connect to and play. That would be a real museum archive, I think. Like, if they had like an active server for people to play of these MMOs, that'd be awesome. But I don't. It would probably get like out of control, and the museum would have to start it's
the one kid that's been standing there for 4 days, and he's only level 12, and we can't make him leave.
It's not It's not even like they don't even have to go to the museum. They could just log on to the museum's website and be like, "Hey, I want to play the vanilla version of World of Warcraft." I mean, that's what this was. These people loved World of Warcraft. They love it so much they wanted to play the original version of it, and Blizzard was like, "I'm sorry, you can't do that."
And you read the comment sections in these articles about it, where it's like, and we talk about the things we were talking about with the last topic. People met wives and girlfriends and husbands and boyfriends through this thing. It was like years, 10, 12 years.
People have died, and they've had funerals in this game.
Crazy.
Like, it's
It's crazy.
Can we?
That's sad.
Yeah.
Good point, Marcus. No,
Valuable input.
Sorry, I know. I really
it needed to be said. It needed to be said. Come on.
I really desperately wanted to talk about because we're so short on time for this topic, but the actual events that occurred. We didn't touch on that. We've been talking about our opinion on that.
It's pretty epic.
About what actually happened.
It was awesome.
Let's talk about the two major things that happened. There was the first, when people got wind of the server going down, they did a suicide march.
That was beautiful.
It's pretty epic. It's pretty epic. Yeah. Like I think it's like the whole like baton death march thing, which was all we needed was like a snowfall to make that like appropriate in that regard. But like
it was a few hour march through the different areas.
Multi-hour.
Of it. Yeah,
it took a long time to get
like
where they're going. And
yeah.
what was the mountain?
Was something
No,
bluff. It was like the shadow.
Thunder Bluff is
Thunder Bluff. Yes.
Thunder Bluff. The Tauren capital city in the.
But it's one of like the highest points though on that particular map though.
Well, it's like just a plateau in the middle of the map where you can just you go up ride up an elevator, walk around the city, and jump off of it if you really want.
Right, because that's what you do on Monday.
Right.
But
it's a cool city. I'm gonna go jump off it.
Right. Everybody marched and. There are videos of this online, so I encourage you to go check it out. Because
played to some pretty questionable music, by the way. But
it's sad and
it's
like
fine.
you know.
But like there are huge gatherings, and even that last video of the one guy took of the last.
Well, wait.
minutes.
Let's start by explaining how the suicide march kind of went down.
You want to nitty gritty with that?
Well, I mean, everybody like hours of marching through all the different areas, so you can just see the scenery one last time.
It's a parade
before it goes
through.
Away.
Assets,
it's so intriguing and beautiful that people want to spend the time to do something so simple like
as
that.
As long as you don't read the global
chat. Yeah. Don't read the chat window.
No,
stay away from the chat window.
Dangerous.
Yeah,
don't ever read that stuff.
Let's go ahead and let's hope someone had blurred that out in one of the renditions that you get. And then everybody kind of, well, for the most part, went to the very end. And it sat at the top of the plateau, and somebody attempted to do a countdown to the best of their ability. And then everybody just jumped off the cliff.
It was the same like moment. Slow moving stream of World of Warcraft characters jumping off this one character.
Yeah, it was very Lemmings.
It was like sadly tragic and poetic and kind of great at the same time. Like I honestly, to me, I feel like I was watching like the best 3D, medieval fantastic representation of Lemmings that I could ever think of. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it was like that. It was a tribute to Lemmings, but also to this cool server that people managed to keep alive for quite like a few years before Blizzard got wind or felt like they had to take action, which is cool. And
then the final day, right?
Yeah,
which was,
dude,
I've never seen so many avatars in my.
I've been to a lot of concerts in my life, and that crowd looked like it was dense as anything you would see.
Right, you couldn't start a mosh pit in that.
Yeah,
I still think it was half the size of the server because I mean it looked like it was only Alliance members at the end or something. There were probably more people or something, but it just
they shut down the PvP stuff, and then everybody was kind of forced to go PvE for those last moments. So you had people from all over doing, from all different guilds, all different clans, however World of Warcraft works. But not to sound like an idiot, but I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Like it's whatever that does. But like you had all these people kind of come together at the last moments, and literally like it was thousands of people standing in this one area. It was a sea, and like the guy goes through the video and clicks off player names and clicks them back on so that you could understand kind of the way that read. You know what I mean? It was insane.
The lamenting.
Yeah.
That's what got to me.
It's true though.
The open lamenting.
Yeah. It's like there were people calling for straight up like, DDoS attacks on Blizzard servers, but at the same time be like, cancel your, Legion expansion orders, but at the same time it's like, all right, well, we'll see you on the next server. Like they're also like very practical people being like, we'll see you when the next one opens up. All right. Talk to you then. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. But
it's crazy. Go look at the video.
But if you've ever wanted to understand like a devotion and a true love of a game and a community, like this is a perfect example of that. And so to have it snuffed out like that is sad, arguably necessary, but I don't know.
I don't think so. I think it was bullshit.
They
should have kept that alive.
Shots fired. All right.
Do share.
No, I think they should have kept it alive. Seriously,
does it set a weird precedent though? Does it set a weird precedent though? Because then you create these opportunities for other people to just set up their weird vanilla servers and do dumb weird shit.
People should be allowed to do that.
I think it's
because that's
great.
so important for just keeping communities healthy, vibrant, alive,
Lasting.
healthy.
Yeah,
It's about longevity.
And it's about support and
Yeah.
longevity, right? Of your of whatever you're creating. So
but
there's
as-
no harm in keeping it around. They're not doing anything bad. They're getting away with like playing an old version of the game. Who the fuck cares?
You made your money off that. You made the money you're going to make off that. So
They're
why not
having a
just
great
let it-
time doing it, and they're
Sleeping dogs,
promoting
right?
your game. They
Yeah.
are doing so much more than what Blizzard realizes. I think they've done a major disservice to their game and their intellectual property.
I feel really wrong if I disagreed with him right now. Anybody else feel that way?
You
No.
could.
I completely agree. I think, I agree with everything you said. I think it's a fucking legal nightmare for Blizzard in some way to keep that stuff up because, like you said, it would set a precedence, and then we would have this for all video games where, like,
Potentially a free fall.
potentially.
Of shit. Yeah.
But I think there needs to be some kind of middle ground for this kind of stuff. I think
I
we
agree.
need to reach some point. I think it will expand the industry, and I think it'll be a lot better for it on the other end. So I don't know.
I'd be interested to see what our opinions would be in the future if we have a game that this ends up happening to. Just to be
Being
like
on the other side of it. Yeah, no, I think that's a
wanna
valid
know what
question
that's
too,
like.
man.
I
Yeah,
want to
no,
know what
fair
it's
enough.
like to be on the other side of that and see it occur. Because
But
I
I
think I mostly agree with Marcus in that.
Exactly.
You
It's like
can't take it too seriously.
when you have a group of people
exactly.
that love this something that you made for that long and have had like life changing events happen because of that game. Like we talked about again, marriages, relationships, and all this stuff like that happened through these venues that otherwise may not have been possible for people or otherwise. Like that's an incredible thing. Like you're enabling real life to happen through a virtual setting, and that's a powerful fucking idea. I just
It's cute.
I think
you're welcome. God damn it, you're welcome.
I like
to
it.
repeat Marcus because that was perfect. You can't take it too seriously.
Yeah.
I think that like sums
true.
it up the whole thing.
But some people do, and that's what makes that
But-
passion.
no, I mean
worthwhile,
us,
right?
like as developers or
Yes, okay,
creators.
yes.
Like
You've
we can't-
got to foster that kind of thing.
Yes.
And keep the
Cradle it, nurture it.
yeah, of course. It's
work
our
it.
job
and then let it go.
as the parents of this thing.
When you
Right.
sent Master Chief off to college,
right.
as you mentioned in the beginning.
I slapped him in the ass and I told him to go.
Go get him, fella. Yeah.
Wear protection.
All right. Also in a giant suit of armor. That works pretty good.
Wow.
We're gonna take a short break. Fill you in on this week's
Macallan.
contest results. Macallan.
No, here we go.
Macallan. Yeah. We're gonna fill you in this week's contest results and announce the new one, and we'll be back in a sec.
Last week, we offered up a copy of Brigador. This early access gem is a hit with us, and the creators definitely deserve your support. Plus, the game features killdozers. We're excited to announce the winner is Nicholas N. Congrats! To keep the giveaway train rolling, this week we're offering up a Steam key for Enter the Gungeon, made by the folks at Dodge Roll Games. This roguelike bullet hell has more guns than an NRA hoarder and attitude in spades. Be sure to check out cheatcodespodcast.com to see all the ways you can enter to win. Good luck and enjoy free games!
All right, welcome back, everybody. All right, panel. It's time for the lightning round. Here's how it works. We're gonna take two quick topics and give each member of the panel a minute to chime in, uninterrupted for the most part. At the end of each minute, we will award the panelist a quantity of some type of points based on nothing in particular. So, topic number one: Cards Against Humanity. Your grandmother's favorite game to play after a few sherries during the holidays has set a new bar for giving back to its community. Even in the wake of buying a chunk of an island and a castle in Ireland for its players, their Cards Against Humanity 2016 Science Ambassador Scholarship has funded one lucky lady's collegiate experience. I don't know her name. I didn't write it down, but she's at UPenn right now. And, I mean, holy shit, congratulations to her, because that's rad as hell. And it's pretty awesome. So by continually setting new levels of red as a descriptor with their funds,
Joe's not young anymore.
Let's take a minute. I could say gnarly if you prefer.
That's better.
Okay, let's take a groovy, sure. Let's
Now you're speaking my language.
let's take a minute to make some suggestions on how to keep impressing their fans and upping the game in the way that they donate their money for their fans and their drunk grandmas. Okay.
Wow.
Mr. Golish, I'd like to award you the first 60 seconds to tell me how Cards Against Humanity can continue to spend money in favor of their fans, but exceeding the levels they've set so far.
They got to do better than what they've been doing.
Sure.
Sure.
They could, I don't know, buy me a car or something, or they could take me to Mexico. Like it's a ridiculous question, honestly. Like, how can they do it to better?
So is your answer.
How can Cards Against Humanity better humanity? I guess they could like sanction nuclear restrictions on North Korea. Like it sounds like they can do pretty much anything right now. Like they could do a ton of shit. Like they build castles, they send people to college, they feed Africa. Like it's like what do you want from them? They're doing a great job. Say thank you, because I do. Thank you, Cards Against Humanity.
I'm going to award you a full deck of Cards Against Humanity with $100,000 hidden in the
bigger blacker box.
In the bigger blacker box, so that you have to like literally destroy the box to get to your prize.
Oh, jeez.
All right, Mr. Arroyo.
How do I follow that? I don't even know.
Good luck. Good luck.
Jeez. I was thinking one of those like community-driven statues, like Eve did.
That's great,
right? Yeah, exactly.
Pretty sure Nick's name would end up on that shit.
Yeah, Nick, multiple characters, right? He'd have all of them. I think honestly, I just think what they're doing is amazing, and it's so funny to have a game called Cards Against Humanity do so much for humanity. Yes. It's just the best. It's one of those things where you just, you flip it on its head and screw it. It's fun and it's goofy, but we're still actually going to get shit done so that nobody can say anything bad about our endeavors, no matter how raunchy or ridiculous, or no matter whether or not you hide a card called a bigger blacker dick inside of my bigger blacker box. And that's a thing. At least you're giving back to the community, and nobody can really say anything, against your company.
I will award you one Cards Against Humanity card that. I don't know. You said a bigger black or something, and so I'm just saying that this card that I'm saying the card that I'm awarding you has Obama worked in somehow. So
I don't want to
do with that what you will. No, in a good way. Like we're assuming that the guy's like packing heat. That's all I'm saying.
It makes sense in the Cards Against Humanity world that there's like Obama is in there like 20 times in different cards.
Right.
I had to defend you, Joe.
I know, right? That was weird. I'm sorry, Marcus.
That's quite all right. I'm super perplexed by this. I actually do not understand this Cards Against
Humanity thing. That's okay,
and I think it's a farce.
It kind of is, but what's making it not a farce? Quickly.
Fuck that! It was done.
Oh, are you giving?
It was awarded on April 1st.
Started.
He started it already.
All right,
okay. I'm already 30 seconds into it.
You just got an extra 60. Go for it.
I don't understand why they decided to roll it out on April 1st. Did they want it to be a joke? I mean, I know that. Yes. Possibly.
Oh, that's your man.
Hey. I don't know. Was it real?
It's real.
All right.
The girl received her scholarship and won.
God, man. I don't understand these people. I like the fact that they're doing this, but I don't understand it. I really just don't get them. I don't know.
Wait, have you played Apples to Apples?
I have, yes.
Okay. It's that, but there's like
I know, with lots of crude things in it. And I think it's a fantastic game.
Yeah,
I don't know why you said it's for grandmas.
I'm pretty sure it was just.
That's not my grandma.
I said it because
Because
Well, I'm sorry. My son's grandma has played Cards Against Humanity a couple times.
What?
And
She sounds cool.
she's a pretty rad lady.
Wow.
But
it's a funnier game.
my
if
grandma was like that.
Somebody who doesn't
wish my grandma was
understand
alive.
how inappropriate it is going to play it with you.
it's true. It's when you play for the first time, it becomes very clear what kind of sense of humor you have or do not. And
Yeah.
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't mean to make it that extreme, but maybe for the V1 office, get the bigger, blacker box.
Oh, it'll be rampant.
Rampant.
The rampant box. Okay. Show her skin. 1 minute. Ready to go. Oh, wait. Sorry. Not ready to go.
Oh, I need to award him
Keep
points.
in mind. Yeah, okay.
I do
go
need
ahead,
to
do
award
that
him
first.
points. I award you one bigger, blacker box.
All right.
That's easy.
That's fair. It was honestly not as good as Joe's.
It's fine.
I don't know.
That's
It
fine.
wasn't as good as Nick's, so that works out.
Yeah, at least he got some cash in it.
Keep in mind, Marcus, when Joe gets his minute,
It's up to you to award me
pay
points.
attention because you get to award him points when this is over.
I can't wait.
All right, here we go. Go.
So not only is this great because you have something that I think most people wouldn't have ever thought took off, but it's clear that Cards Against Humanity is very, very much like a cultural touchstone when it comes to card games, but not only board games. So the fact that they've gone around and tried to figure out inventive and creative ways to use their money is awesome. It's so great because like who the fuck would buy a portion of Maine wildlife preserve and then keep it that way? But just the fact that like, hey, if you're a Cards Against Humanity owner, you can go and walk on our nature preserve. Or we have this castle in Ireland. That's cool. You know what we're gonna do now? We're gonna make STEM scholarships for women. This is gonna be awesome. So how do you bring this up? You know what you do? You build a laser for Stephen Hawking and Yuri Milner. That's what you do. You build the laser to send the Graham-sized spaceship to Alpha Centauri. That's how you step up your game.
Cards Against the Universe.
That's right. And you're welcome.
It's a good idea.
You win.
Fair enough. Thank you. I appreciate that.
That's his points. All the things.
Everything. You get it all.
All right.
It was good. It tied in.
So, topic number 2 for the lightning round, and the last one for the day. The Pentagon wants you to hack it, or at least try. On March 31st, the government opened a registry to the public, so aspiring and accomplished hackers can come and help strengthen our nation's tech security. I feel like I stumbled every single one of the
It was
words in
pretty
that
good.
sentence.
We
but it's
figured
fine.
it out.
I
Context
understand what you're
clues.
saying.
It's great. The contest begins on April 18th, officially. There's no threat of persecution, but you will need to go through a background check and be a tax-paying American to participate. Also, what could possibly go wrong? Probably nothing, but let's pretend. If you guys don't mind, I'm gonna go back to back and take the first minute
Go
here,
for it.
just to set it up appropriately for everybody.
Ready to go.
So the guy that wrote this for TechCrunch.com is actually one of the organizers, and it was very encouraging of all wannabe hackers to come and take their stab at some sort of Pentagon infrastructure, whether it be some sort of database or software or whatever. I have a distinct feeling that they've probably cloned some portion of their stuff, moved it to some secure site, and been like, you're actually not hacking the Pentagon. You're hacking something that represents it.
The Pentagon.
Because the U.S. government's as challenged as they might be, they're not that dumb. Right. But so here's the other thing. I also feel like this is like one of those dumb buddy cop movies where it's like, hey, we're giving away these free boats to crack dealers. If you show up at this house at this time, you can get a free boat. You know what I mean? But no hacker's that fucking dumb. So it's white hats only at this party, apparently, and my minute's up. But there you go.
You get to award him as many boats as you want to.
Yes, crack-filled boats.
Crack-filled boats.
Here they come.
Or Pentagons.
Pentagons.
I like Pentagon.
It's the Pentagons.
It's like
They're
it's
quite
like pants,
comfortable.
but they have 5 sides. It's good.
Whoa.
Oh.
Nice.
Sided pants.
Okay, I actually went to my best friend throughout school was one of these hackers.
Okay.
I'm not kidding you. But this was before this entire farce of a
Publicity
contest.
stuff, yeah.
Yes. This was for real. Like he was back in when we were in the 80s we were building video games together in 6th grade together. Like seriously, this was pretty fun. So he went on to college, become an incredible programmer, and he decided to hack into the Pentagon. And he did it for real. And he actually then proceeded on to become one of the premier security guys at NSA.
Yes.
That's how it works.
Yes, that's how it works. So, that was for real. This all seems like bullshit, like a giant baiting scheme.
Right? It does. It's like crack-filled boats, guys, everywhere.
I can't understand how this is real.
I'm going to...
That was a fucking awesome story, by the way.
I'm not sure what to award you other than more friends with political connections for the sake of your future company. How's that? All right.
Good luck offering them enough money to
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Golish,
Hey,
talk to me about hacking the Pentagon.
what's the topic? Just kidding.
Yeah.
All right. I guess the way I view this is when I think about this topic, I think about all those like hackathon conventions that go on in Vegas or Los Angeles where all these hackers get together and they talk about these exploits. And then in the corner, there's this government official there that's there like recruiting these people. It's like, hey, you just proved that you're a really good hacker. Do you want to come hack for us? And this speaks to me like, do you want to come hack for us?
For me.
Yeah, come back for the government. This speaks to me as, yes, it's a huge kind of like, I guess, phishing scheme in a sense to like find people who are good hackers or people who are good. Maybe they haven't had good luck in Vegas lately or something to find these people. But they're trying to, I don't know. It's exactly what he said. It's probably some fucking like clone site where it's all cached and people are just trying to hack into that, and they're waiting for the person to hack into the real site, not the fake one. They're just, I don't know. It's kind of silly, but I don't know. It's interesting enough to, I guess.
It's War Games with Matthew Broderick all over again, right? Like, how long does it take till somebody gets access to some launch codes, right?
Yeah, I'm not worried about that at all. But yeah, I guess it's.
Nor am I.
Yeah. NORAD am I?
NORAD am I?
NORAD am I?
Good one.
I don't know about you, but I go to Vegas to play.
I'm gonna award you one
Blackjack.
giant dumb base under a mountain just for that comment.
It was fucking great. NORAD am I?
All right, don't say your own joke and then say how fucking great it is. Okay?
That's not how jokes work.
Is it not good? Is it a bad joke? Are you
Well, if you're happy, I'm happy.
I'm pretty happy with it.
That's good. Mr. Arroyo, can you
I guess
bookend us today on the lightning round
All right.
for 60 seconds?
I think what's hilarious is that they make an attempt to say that the purpose of this is for them to discover or make it strong, make the Pentagon stronger and the security issue stronger. Is like people are going to actually help them in that regard. When in reality, it's something like this. Like, hey, first of all, we're not going to allow anyone who already has a criminal record to do it because you have a criminal record because you successfully hacked something before. Well, we really probably want those people and not the white hat hackers. And even then, like, it's like, hey, if you weren't convicted before, why don't you come in here into this room? And then let's give us a reason to maybe, come after you for everything you've done in the past. So it's either they're catching the remaining people who they haven't caught before, or they're not actually making their system better, because if they were, they'd be going after people who've already fucking done it. And those are the people with records. And those are probably the people they actually want to do this thing. So there's really like no good side. Like either way, it sucks. Like they don't gain anything, and neither do the hackers. So it's a moot point.
I want to award you one VHS copy of the movie Hackers.
Yes. Angelina Jolie for the win.
Right. And Johnny Lee Miller, all those fun individuals.
That movie was very exciting.
It was.
It was a thrill ride.
There was a lot of rollerblades happening. A lot of rollerblades.
Wow.
It's the only way to get around in the 90s.
If you're in a trench coat and goggles, okay? Let's make it clear here.
That was great. Dude, I just saw a guy in rollerblades wearing dad pants riding up the street in our neighborhood.
Wait, hold on. Can we talk about what
we talk about rollerblades?
Dad pants for a second.
Dad pants.
Am I overdue for my
Wait,
pair of
what are-
dad pants?
yeah,
Do I
what
need
are
a pair of
dad
dad
pants?
pants?
Dad pants. You've
Explain.
not seen
Are
dad
they like
Well,
jams?
maybe I have, but
They're
I feel
a
like
little
you need to.
high-waisted.
Okay.
They have a
like
slight
stone washed?
acid wash.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right,
And
good.
he was really stroking it as he went up the hill.
Is it similar to what you're wearing right now?
Hey,
Those are like
so
designer
not true.
jeans.
No, I'm just
That's
asking.
designer
It's a
jeans.
question. It's a
Asshole.
question. It's just like
what the
it's like I just asked.
Although I
They're
think
nice jeans.
I think
So
we're
I-
going to call the episode "Stroking It."
so it's
with
no.
Marcus
Or acid wash jeans with Marcus Lehto.
Yeah,
Yes.
just dad jeans. Just dad jeans. It's good.
Dad pants.
I had dad jeans back in the 80s.
Okay. That were you a dad in the 80s?
Thank God, no.
So why did you have them?
You mean as far as you know? Anyway.
That's what was hot and happening.
We're asking real questions.
Yeah,
here on the Chico's podcast.
Digging deep.
Wait, so is acid washing the jeans the difference between like dad jeans and not dad jeans?
Not quite.
Okay, so
No, it's just the difference
that's-
between stonewash and acid wash.
That is part of it, but it's the high-waisted aspect and maybe the pleats.
okay.
Yes,
Pleats.
the
Okay.
pleats on the front.
Yeah.
There you go.
Wow.
Those are pretty sassy.
That's impressive.
We're really digging deep at this point, guys. Holy moly. Okay. Woo. All right. On that note,
Dad jeans is definitely the title.
I
by
think
the
dad
way,
jeans
in case you
is appropriate. I think we've done it. Episode 92 is in the can. Marcus, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us.
Oh, thank you.
We really appreciate it. There's probably some subdued nerd moments happening right now. The fact that you're even doing the show, but we appreciate it. So
they're definitely here. Yeah.
yeah. Please tell the fine folks at home where people can hit you up on the Twitter or the tweet box. The Twitter. It's like just like the Facebook, right, guys? Isn't that how that
The
works?
Twitter.
or check out more about V1 Interactive.
Hey, we've got lots to announce coming up soon. We're hiring. We are in the midst of building the new studio. You can follow me at game_fabricator on Twitter. You can.
That's a good
name.
You can follow V1 Interactive on Twitter. You can follow us on Facebook as well. Hey, we've got a lot of awesome stuff happening right now. And the studio is going to be, we just got funding, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah.
So the gun has been fired, and a lot of cylinders are firing right now to make the studio a reality. So we're really excited. Yeah.
Wearing those dad jeans pretty thin.
I have retired them long ago.
So
Retire them.
I'm only
too.
wearing the sexiest jeans for Mr. Nick here.
That's right.
I'm wondering if you retired them too, like the back of a drawer somewhere at home.
Hey,
They're for later.
there's some other embarrassing things in the back of that drawer.
Thank you for being here, dear listener, and we're always curious to hear what you think. So please hit us up, cheatcodespodcast.com, Facebook, Twitter, and please feel free to get in on the conversation. Stay tuned for a new episode coming next week. We're getting super close to episode 100, and we're working on some fun stuff to celebrate with you guys. And if you're in the area, we want to encourage you to come and be a part of whatever it is that we end up doing. Make sure you check out the giveaways portion of the site. Go get your hands on some free stuff. And I'm going to do my best to do Howl one more time. This conversation can serve no purpose anymore. Goodbye. You can all say goodbye if you want. Say goodbye.
Stay sad.
Bye.
Goodbye.